Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy Crosby. I'm the host of Talking Fitchburg, and today we're going to be talking with the City Administrator, Chad Brecklin. Chad been on Talking Fitchburg many times as the City Administrator and other other functions prior to. But Chad, thank you for taking the time today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. Chad, today we're going to talk a little bit about the recent Town of Madison open house meeting that we had. And there were a lot of questions that were talked about transportation. So really, we want to spend our time today talking about transportation and generally what we're doing to answer some of the questions that came up. But just on a quick recap, Chad, for those who weren't in attendance at that meeting, what did we share at the meeting for residents? And what do we want people to know about this attachment?
Yeah, so last week we did have an in-person public information meeting for Town of Madison residents and business owners. And that was an opportunity for us here in the city of Fitchburg to have each of our departments introduce themselves and provide a very brief overview of the services that they can provide to our forthcoming residents in the Town of Madison. And also just provide an opportunity for the Town of Madison residents to have a face and a name of people that they can come and talk to here at the city of Fitchburg if they have any questions or if we can be of assistance. And it also provided that opportunity for question and answers where residents could pose questions to us, or they could speak with department heads individually at the conclusion of the meeting as well.
Awesome. And when we opened it up for questions, we got a lot of questions about transportation. And ironically, it worked itself out that Madison Transit is in the middle of a redesign project that's going on. So I think a lot of people have questions about that in the Southdale neighborhood. So tell us, what is Metro working on right now that's going hand in hand? It's not part of the attachment, but it is happening here at the same time.
Right, you are correct there, Jeremy, that we have a couple of items happening simultaneously. And because these things are happening simultaneously, it does create the potential for them to be linked to one another, and for people to potentially feel like one is happening because of the other or vice versa. And the two things that are happening simultaneously is we have Madison Metro is in the process of evaluating its goals and objectives for service and making changes to its routes throughout the entire Madison Metro transit network, which does include obviously the city of Madison, but also includes suburban communities like Fitchburg. And this process has been going on for several months, if not longer, even closer to probably more than a year at this point in time, where Metro has evaluated, again, its existing services, what the goals and objectives are for changes to those services. And Metro has come out with proposed routes that would reflect how they hope to accomplish their new goals and objectives with the transit service. Some of those route adjustments increase the frequency of bus stops or bus runs, so to speak, or routes to allow people to get to where they want to go via transit quicker and more efficiently. There's also the consideration about implementing bus rapid transit in a couple of corridors, east, west, north, south within the Madison metropolitan area. And one of the byproducts of the route modifications is that the bus stops and routes that people are accustomed to are likely going to be changing. And one of the impacts is that people may have to walk farther to get to a transit stop. And that certainly was a topic of conversation at our public information meeting last week. The other simultaneous item that is happening here is the Town of Madison attachment to both the city of Madison and the city of Fitchburg. That was a cooperative agreement that was signed by the three municipalities, the cities of Madison and Fitchburg and the Town of Madison, all the way back in 2002, when there was the agreement that was reached that the town would dissolve and cease to exist on October 31st, 2022. A portion of it would attach to the city of Madison, and a portion would attach to the city of Fitchburg. So while these two things are happening at the same time, they are completely unrelated to one another. But as I mentioned earlier, at our public information meeting with Town of Madison residents, the topic of transit and specifically the adjustments to the routes in the Southdale neighborhood was a topic of considerable questions and comments for those in attendance.
As far as moving forward, Chad, we're certainly going to continue to provide a lot of information here about the attachment. But in the transportation side of things, there is a deadline that is sneaking up fast here for this redesign project. So unfortunately, we're at the later part of the redesign, but there's still time for public comment. And that's what we're trying to, we want to collect it. We want to share it. We've been doing it with the city of Fitchburg. And again, hearing from the residents in the part of the Southdale neighborhood that'll be joining us here as part of the attachment. We want to make sure that they know where to communicate that information. Where should they be sending those comments to at this point?
So their best place to send those comments is going to be to Madison Metro to make sure that those comments get there as we are approaching that deadline, as you had mentioned. I would also encourage them to consider including their elected officials in those communications, the ones that they are currently served by in the town of Madison. And they can also include their future elected officials here in the city of Fitchburg, which would include Mayor Richardson, Alder Jay Allen, and Alder Shannon Strassman. Those are the three primary elected officials that will represent the Southdale neighborhood that's being attached to the city of Fitchburg. Of course, you can simply email the entire council if you would prefer to do that as well, in addition to sharing those comments with Madison Metro. Our engineering department is taking the lead in liaisoning with Metro on these network redesigns and our contract with Metro. I won't expect that anyone will include our engineering department, but if you certainly include our elected officials and or me, we can ensure that that feedback is also shared with our engineering department as well.
All right, Chad, appreciate the time, and we'll point people here in the right direction and keep your feedback coming in. We do want to hear from you for any questions related to the attachment, and certainly if you have questions as part of the Metro redesign project too, as Chad had mentioned, certainly you can reach out to Metro, but we can also help you at least get the information to the right direction. Chad, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We'll check back in with you real soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jeremy.